Alright, we're gonna start on the passenger side now. We're gonna take our little exhaust bellows out of the way, and we're gonna get our coolant line out of the way and start taking off all of our connections for our boost solenoid, and basically get this cooler out of the way so we can get down to our cover that's leaking oil. So here we go. Alright, here's the passenger side. We got the little wheel well out of the way. Same thing on this one. The oil leak is basically coming from the bottom right here. You can see the bottom of the gasket. I did do dye in this. I wasn't coming from the injector seals, unfortunately. Coming from the valve cover / intake manifold gasket. But yeah, it runs all the way down. You can see it all wet down there. So we're gonna start tearing this side down. Basically do what we did over there, over here. Hopefully it goes nice and smooth. Alright, so now I'm gonna start tearing down fuel lines, connectors, start getting to the point where we're gonna pull those injectors out. So here we go. Alright, now to removing the injectors. This is same technique as the other side. You know, this side got a little bit more room, so it works out pretty good. Everything's going good. Just want to make sure when you pull all your wiring out, just be careful with your boost line, this guy right here, because these things are real fragile, real easy to crack or break, and then you start having issues. So one less thing you got to replace if you're careful. Alright, I got the injectors all out. So now it's about to take out the valve cover. A bunch of little 8mm, and she's off. Alright, got all the bolts torqued down. 106 inch-pounds all the way around. 1/4 inch torque wrench. That's obviously calibrated is the way to go here. Now onto the injectors. I got the new supply line, about to put it on. Unfortunately, these are the ones, just like with the injector lines, they're not reusable. So now's the time to put this on and get the fuel system all squared away. Alright, so on the fuel supply line, you want to hand tighten all the fittings at the pump and at the rails to where they're fully seated by hand. And then once they're fully seated, tighten the 8mm first, and then once those are tight, then you can torque down the fittings. Alright, so I got the supply line all in. You want to put the line in, tighten the fittings like I said by finger tight, then put the 8mm in. Torque those down 18 foot-pounds, and then the fittings are 177 inch-pounds, and then it goes to 26 foot-pounds at the fittings on the rails, and then 30 foot-pounds on the fittings on the pump. So a little bit more torque on the pump fittings. Alright, I just got the fuel line in, oil line to the turbo. When you put this line on, you want to make sure back here that it clicks in. There's a little spring retaining clip in there, because if you don't, that thing will come out, and that's definitely not good. Hot oil on a hot turbo, that's a fire. So make sure you put that back in. Alright, I got the whole side back together. Put the fuel filter back in there, all the lines plumbed back in. Installed this line. It's just those two 8mm. Basically just reversing the teardown procedure. But right side's looking pretty good. So now I'm gonna start putting all this wiring back together, and then put the EGR cooler back on. Here we go. Alright, it's time to start putting the battery box and all that other good stuff back in. Now that the cooler's back in and all torqued down. Alright, I got the intake back on, or part of it I should say. Actually it's the mixer housing, kinda. And just your 310s, I put this on. Got your other exhaust bellows. About to put this one on right now, which just sneaks on in here like so. And then just gotta put the intake on. And we're almost done, and it is dark, but she's about wrapped up. Alright, I got the batteries back in. Got the surge tank back on. Got the hoses back on. And everything's looking good. Right back to normal. All that crap back to where it needs to be. So now what you want to do is cycle the key and then check for any kind of low pressure leaks. I had one of the O-rings on the feed line not seat right. It started leaking on me, so you always want to key it on about 3 times. Check both sides, make sure it's nice and dry before you start it up. And then you're good to go. Well, let's see if all that hard work paid off. Ready for the road test.